Good morning, ma. Yeah, good morning, ma. If you can hear me.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, ma. Sorry, we are starting very quite late, and I think it's 5 minutes behind our schedule now. But we have no option than to just kickstart right away while our audience later join us without taking much of our time as well. And I really want to appreciate you for keeping to time, even though you've been here before each and every one. And definitely, I know that we can still work along with time that which we have for today's event. And briefly, I'll be starting with a brief introduction of our guest for today, in person of Dr. Franca Agama, and she is from Hida local government, the area of Kogi State, and she holds a PhD in town planning and regional planning from University of KwaZulu, Durban, South Africa, and she's also she has a 2 master's degree from University of Lagos in urban and regional planning and geographic information system. And she's a registered town planner and a member of Nigerian Institute of Town Planner, and also and a deputy coordinator of Yabatech UNESCO Univoc at the Center for Research and Sustainable Development. Dr. Agama served on various conferences and publishing committee, and she has authored, presented, and published many papers around various development works. And also she's a mentor to many and loves children and has passion for sustainable development, which is more reason why she's on this call this morning, facilitating today's session on transforming education in achieving sustainable development in Nigeria. Believe me or not, education is the enabler towards achieving sustainable development in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria and across various countries. And it's very important for us to see areas, various actions and solutions, and how we can build more resilience towards achieving sustainable development in Nigeria without leaving anyone behind. But today, Dr. Agama will be doing more justice to this in the next 40 minutes or thereabouts, whereby she tells us more about strategies which we can go and adopt, in achieving this. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for gracing this webinar, despite the very short notice and event. Thank you so much. I would like to leave it over to you, and we move straight to the webinar session, ma'am.
So, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. I appreciate you, and I want to thank you for your passion. You have been very passionate about sustainable development. We need young men like you. Like we always say, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
I can hear.
Okay. So like we say, it's good we catch them young. So I'm particularly excited when I see young people interested, about sustainable development, sustainability and all. That shows that at least the message is going down and people are beginning to jump on the train. So that's really very interesting and very encouraging. So I'm particularly happy to be here today. I also want to encourage everyone that we should not look at the numbers here, because sometimes when you are attending a webinar and you are not seeing 500, 1,000 people, you want to be discouraged. You don't know how many people are actually seeing you. I don't want us to be discouraged, okay?
Yeah,
small measures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, small measures. Let one person tell one. So if we're up to 5 here today, there are opportunities that before the end of today or before the end of tomorrow, this message can spread across to more people, probably 5 or 10 or 15, okay, in exponential figures, and all that. So the numbers is not really a problem. So the issues of sustainability are very dear to us. And, okay, maybe I should show my face. Yes, so they are very dear to us, and I'm particularly happy, that we are hopping on the train. So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, everyone. Okay, so our topic for today is transforming education in achieving sustainable development in Nigeria. So I'm hoping that in the next few minutes we'll be able to see what roles education has to play towards achieving the SDGs. How do we come in? Who is responsible for what? And how do we make progress and way forward? So Mr. Emmanuel has introduced me. My name is Agama Franca. I'm a principal lecturer with the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Yabatech of Technology. I'm also assisting the coordinator of Yabatech UNESCO Univoc Center for Research and Sustainable Development. So our outline for today, we are going to be looking at a few things. What really is sustainable development? What is sustainable development, and what is education for sustainable development? Sometimes we think that, look, there are just too many semantics, too many acronyms, too many terms. We're tired, but then let's see what this is about and how it involves or concerns us. So one of the things we'll also look at is who is involved, what are the approaches, what are the scope and thematic areas, what time frame do we have? Is it an urgent problem? Must we do something now? Can't it wait for tomorrow? What? So I can afford to use water to use them for now. I don't think water is depleting. I don't think people unanswered. Okay, and that's why education for sustainable development is and we need to start now. And there are no small approaches, there are no small groups. Okay, so then before we proceed, I know a lot of us know what sustainable development is now. What is really sustainable development? When people say sustainability, sustainable development, what is it about? Okay, now, so we have a definition here. UN conference that meets the need of the present or the future for meeting theirs. And I think that definition of sustainable development is just fairness. We should be fair. I think that's what it's just saying. That while you are meeting your needs, you are not jeopardizing the opportunity and the possibility for somebody else to meet his or her own needs. It's talking about empathy, it's talking about equity, it's talking about equality, it's talking about conservation, it's talking about preservation, it's talking about growth, because things cannot stay the same way. If you must use it and pass it to the next generation, it means that you must have some form of preservation, you must have some form of growth plans, okay, or techniques that can help you achieve that. So SDGs is not only about saying, oh, we have a piece of cake. Let all of us just be pinching the piece of cake, okay? And make sure you don't finish it until you pass it to the next person. That's not going to happen. If we have a piece of cake and we're all pinching from it, it will finish. But then we must have a plan. What plan do we have? How do we bake, more cakes without having so much impact on the environment? So we can have our pieces now and the future can still have theirs. Okay, so in sustainability, we have growth, economic growth, we have conservation, we have preservation of the environment, and we have social inclusion. So that it is, standing on three tripods, which we'll be seeing later. Okay, so in 2015, the 20 Agenda for Sustainable Development and SDGs were formally adopted at the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit. Okay, so you will recall that before this time, we had the Millennium Development Goals, okay? But then at this summit, we 17 goals were drawn up and they replaced the MDGs. And these goals were to guide the global path to achieving sustainability after 2015. So the issues of sustainability is actually very important. Okay, the UN Assembly adopted the 2030 agenda, okay, in 2015. I earlier said that. And this is to guide humanity towards achieving sustainability, towards survival, so we don't go into extinction, so we don't self-destruct, we don't destroy ourselves, okay, with our own successes. Okay, so the agenda, like I said earlier, had 17 goals, okay, and they set environmental limits and critical thresholds for use of natural resources, strategies for social inclusion and economic development. So this way, we're able to achieve some balance. Like I told us, these are embedded, or they're standing on three pillars, or call it tripod, or whatever. You can see it here on this slide. That we have social, environmental, and economic sustainability. Okay, so the SDGs are 17, like I earlier said, and you can see that somehow, if you look at them, some of the goals are tended towards achieving social inclusion, some of them are towards achieving environmental conservation, and some towards economic growth. And then we have peace, partnership. Okay, so all these are things that if you are not told, if you are not taught, you cannot know. Some of us, maybe because we're on social media and things like that, we come across these things, we see SDGs, okay, we hear about it in the news, but we don't know what they really are talking about. We don't know what the targets are. We don't know what the actions, towards achieving them are. We don't know who is involved. We don't know what our parts are, okay? So there are so many, sides to this. And so we must all embrace it. Like I told us, there are three pillars, okay? And it's talking about how do we generate wealth, and this is talking about economic growth. How do we minimize depletion of natural resources? This is talking about achieving environmental protection or preservation or conservation, as you may want to say it. And how can we improve the quality of life, especially for those living in poverty? This is talking about social inclusion, considering everyone in the development process, considering girls, considering women, considering physically disabled people, considering people who are on the lower socioeconomic strata, considering people with housing and quality of life, and ensuring that to some extent we all have some dignity, okay, as humans, okay, in the environment. So these are generalized goals. So the SDGs are generalized goals that guides the globe. It guides everyone, irrespective of your climate, whether you're in the developed climate or the undeveloped climate and all that. We are all to work towards achieving these set goals. Okay, so now some of you will be wondering, why are these goals coming? What is it about? Why do some people sit down to formulate goals and the news is everywhere, information is everywhere and all that? And that's because we're having challenges. We're having problems in the environment. Our climate is changing. The global warming is becoming, coming with several consequences. We see flood everywhere. We see natural disasters happening more than, we used to know. We see our unpredictable weather systems. We see natural resources are getting depleted. Our biodiversity is, going fast down. Species extinction, and things like that. It's threatening food security. It's threatening life. On land, on underwater, okay, it's threatening everything. And if we don't do something, like I said earlier, we might just be moving towards self-destruction. Yes, we're working so hard. Development is happening. We're having a lot of growth around us, but we cannot afford our growth to destroy us if we don't manage them, considering the environment. Okay, we're going to be having issues. If you see on this slide, I have on this top part, these challenges are listed in white, and on the bottom part, we have some other factors that are, highlighted in black. So if you see the topic, I said challenges and need for SDGs. Okay, so these ones in white are the challenges that brought about the need for SDGs. they saw that the environment is fast depleting, and if nothing is done, the problems will just worsen. And so, world leaders came together and they came about these SDGs. The ESD, which stands for Education for Sustainable Development, because we need to respond to climate change, we need to respond to global warming, we need to respond to depleting natural resources, loss of biodiversity. We need to respond to a lot of these problems. We need to change the way we have been doing things. That means the way we have developed, the way we have done our engineering, the way we have done our housing and building, the way we have done our construction, the way we have been running our transport systems and all that needs to change if we must save our environment, because they are the things that are causing problems for us. When people want to develop, they clear all the lands, fall all the trees, and build their houses. They forget that place, was home to some form of life, living things, were some form of balance for the ecosystem. Okay, we're contributing to the cycle. Okay, they forget. We don't even consider these things when we are developing, when we are constructing. We don't develop our forms of transportation. People driving alone in their vehicles, motorized transportation. Okay, poor integrated transport systems. Okay, poor public transport. Everyone is driving individual vehicles. We're polluting the environment. Our forms of consumption, our waste generation, all these things are having impact on our environment. So now that we have come to the realization of that fact, there is need to change from the way we've been doing those things. Now, the need for that change means that there's a knowledge gap. It means that in our methods, we need to change our styles. Our methodologies have to change. It means that people, engineers who did not upskill, who did not go to probably retrain, may not be able to meet up with the new demands on the environment. Okay, it means that the demand for sustainable practices requires innovation, which we must develop competencies and skills for. Okay, and aside other problems of community engagement, which we must carry people along to educate them and all that. So you can see that there's really a lot, to still do, towards achieving sustainability. So what action? Like I told us, we have a lot of problems in the environment. I said transport problem, pollution, okay, industrialization, urbanization, all these are constituting problems for our environment. I said all these need urgently require a shift in our lifestyles and a transformation of the way we think and act. Okay, all these problems that we've listed require a shift in our lifestyles and require us to transform from the way we've been doing things. In the previous slide, I put something that said revolving culture and learning traditions. It means that our learning traditions have to change. And if our learning traditions have to change, it means that it must be embedded and integrated into the education system. Okay? And that's why I said here that education systems must respond to the pressing need by defining relevant learning objectives and content. That is where education for sustainable development comes. Apart from making awareness, apart from carrying people along, we must develop competencies. We must develop learning objectives. We must develop areas that we need to, to upgrade, areas that we need to bring about innovation and new initiatives and inventions. Okay, and that's the place for education for sustainable development. It means that the old education systems that we have are beginning to become obsolete because the products that they will be putting out in the market and industrial space may not be able to meet up with the current realities or meet up with the current demands and current needs towards achieving sustainability. And that way we have to introduce new methods of pedagogies that empower learners. So now we should look forward to empowering learners. We've had cases where somebody will say he's an engineer and he cannot really fabricate, he cannot do things, he cannot initiate or innovate, okay? Urging institutions to include sustainability principles in their management structures. So institutions cannot just come and just teach theories and practicals the same way we've been doing it anymore. but they have to be innovative, to empower learners, to teach them how to respond to current needs and current scenarios. And this way, they also have to include sustainability principles in their management structures and in their curriculum. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, in the last 1 or 2 weeks, we were together in a training, and it was about embedding sustainability, embedding greening into our curriculum. Okay, so this, I'm happy that we are starting, the awareness is beginning to start, because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of awareness to be created. There's a lot of learning to do. And there's a lot of follow-up to do, especially, for our institutions, our learning institutions and all. Everyone has to be on this train for us to achieve, the set goals, especially for this 2030 agenda. Already, we are more than midway, okay? If we want to look at how much success we have achieved, I'm not sure that we have done so much, okay? But then, whatever pace we're working at, we should still encourage ourselves. We'll keep moving and keep going until we'll achieve our set goals. Okay, so to achieve this, okay, we need what? New skills. I said that earlier. We need new skills, and we need new values and attitudes that lead to more sustainable societies. Okay, that is what ESD is all about. Education, fostering education for sustainability. We must embrace this. Every institution must embrace this. Our government must embrace this. This must be in our development plans. It must be in our education systems. Okay? It must be in our policies that we need to change skills. We need to develop new skills. We need to develop values and attitude. Okay? As a matter of fact, the United Nations framework, for developing curriculum makes provision for even informal sectors. Okay? It means that everyone can be carried along. Okay. So I just want to read this quote here. It said, education can and must contribute to a new vision for sustainable global development. And that means that education is very important. It can and must contribute to a new vision of global, sustainable development. The 20 Agenda for Sustainable Development, okay, reflects ESD. I have talked about and given us the background information about how important education for sustainable development is, and how the 20 Agenda clearly, makes provision for education. Okay, so it is an essential strategy, and Mr. Emmanuel said that in his opening speech. He said education is very important and is an enabler. Okay, yes, it is an enabler. If you don't know, you stay in the place of ignorance. And when we're talking about education now, we're not talking about only formal education. We're not talking about education in the universities or in the polytechnics or in colleges of education or primary or secondary school. We're talking about education at all levels, from households to individuals, to institutions, to community levels. Okay, so it's very important. That's why that quote said it can and must. Okay, so it's essential, okay, towards pursuit of SDGs and explicitly a stand-alone goal. So if you see the 17 SDGs, you see that goal 4 is talking about access to education for all, especially for girls, and the female gender. Okay, it is both a goal in itself and a means of attaining other SDGs. I think in one of the slides here, I said it's a fulcrum. It is the people, it's the center of attraction of the SDGs, okay? That apart from being a goal in itself, other goals, okay, are achieved through education, okay? Because why? It provides guidance and suggestions that educators can select and adapt to fit, okay, concrete learning context. So we're talking about what our education systems can provide for us, guidance and suggestions, okay, developing a curriculum, okay, that can adapt, okay, different learning contexts and concepts. So, Mr. Emmanuel, are we following me? I don't want to be talking to myself.
Yeah,
are we all following? And can we hear?
You are just loading us with different points, and being awesome and wonderful indeed. Like the last point is yes. So We are enjoying it indeed, ma. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so we have a quote here from the Director General of the UNESCO, Irina Bobkova, and it says a fundamental change is needed in the way we think about education's role in global development. You know, we have this perception that, oh, education, I just want to have a certificate and just go and get a job and look for a job and just start earning money. It is beyond that. And if we think that way, we might just be limited and we might just be restrained and constrained from achieving, so many laudable things that we could achieve. So yeah, it's a fundamental goal. Okay, a fundamental change is needed in the way we think about education's role in global development because it has a catalytic impact on the well-being of individuals and the future of our planet. So education is just to trigger your mind, to trigger the innovation skills you have in you, to trigger your ability to think, your discretion, your initiatives, to motivate you. Yes, education is something that can motivate you to providing solutions to problems. Okay, so let's not be limited by just looking forward to earning a certificate. Oh, let me just get this skill and I just move further with my life. No, it's more than that. Okay, now more than ever, education has a responsibility to be in the gear with 21st century challenges and aspirations and foster the right types of values. So we are saying now, you see, there is emphasis on right types of values and skills. And that is why we have a lot of unemployment at the moment, because our institutions are just busy producing engineers, chemical engineer, town planner, biochemists, and all that. But we are not training them in line with the current scenarios. We are using curriculums that are 30, 20, 15, 10 years old. Meanwhile, the environment is changing every day. Needs for innovations keep coming up every day. Okay, that will lead to a sustainable and inclusive growth and peaceful living. Okay, so if we don't have the right types of values and skills, we may not be able to get access to good employment. A lot of narratives are out there. Oh, there are no jobs in Nigeria. Oh, yeah, that. Yes, there are no jobs, but there are some very skilled jobs that are understaffed, that don't have the requisite skill sets, available in circulation in the labor market. So these are the things that education for sustainability should look at. We're not just trying to say, oh, we don't want our children to be illiterate. Let them just go to school and be out of school. No, it's more than that. We want them to be innovative. We want them to be creative. We want them to contribute to economic growth and national development. We want them to be busy. We don't want them to graduate from school and not have things doing. We want them to be able to be to be able to stand on their own, when they are out from school, and things like that. So we're talking about how important ESD is. I said that goal 4 is talking about education, right? So you see target 4.7 of goal 4 is saying that by 2030, which is the new agenda, that all learners acquire skills needed to promote education for sustainable development by 2030. And we're already in 2022. So we have 7 years. So I want to really commend Mr. Emmanuel for this initiative. We need to start. We need to start driving the bus. Everybody needs to know what SDGs are all about, or is all about. Okay, we need to build sustainable lifestyles, human rights, and gender. So we're talking about human rights and gender equity or equality, promotion of the culture. Sorry about that for that break. Okay, the culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship. So these are just the various aspects, okay? The SDG, talks about that our curriculum must actually respond to. So now, having said all this, education, therefore, is crucial for the achievement of SDGs. It's crucial for the achievement of sustainable development. And I said earlier, I said not all types of education, not just getting a certificate. Oh, I am an engineer, but you don't really have much about green energies. You don't really know much about circular economy. You don't really know much about fabrications. You don't really know much about biodigester. You don't know much about how to build plants, that can help us convert waste to energy. You see now that there'll be some gaps there that you may have to reskill or upskill. Okay, so not all kinds of education supports sustainable development. Education for sustainable development empowers learners to take informed decisions and respond to actions for environmental integrity, economic viability, and a just society for present and future generations. So if you're able to, innovate for green energy or green technology to reduce pollution, to convert waste to wealth, you see that apart from saving the environment, you are actually achieving some economic viability, okay? And then whoever is employed, he has some form of employment, he has some form of acceptance and place and responsibility in the society. So that way you see that you are impacting on all sides. You're not restricted to one aspect. Okay, so now you want to ask, why education? And I think I've answered some of these questions earlier. We said, in the first place, education is a basic human right. Okay, everyone should have access to education. We say it's a foundation for sustainable development. Okay, it's a basic human right and foundation for sustainable development. I said earlier that yes, it is a fulcrum, it is the pivot, it's the enabler. Okay, apart from being a goal itself, education help other goals, to be achieved. It provides skills to thrive. Okay, it is the fulcrum on which other skills or SDGs are leveraged. Okay, with quality education, people are more aware. Possibility of breaking away from existing cycles. Okay, people are, out of ignorance when they are more educated. Okay, and then there are possibilities of breaking away from existing cycles. It's even easier to convince someone about SDG, an educated one about SDGs, okay, because you can break down the concept and the principles to him. Okay, breaking away from existing cycles, the way we've been doing it, this is how we've been doing these things. Okay, that is what education helps. It breaks people away, it breaks us away from, our status quo. It reduces inequality and engenders inclusiveness. Okay, so education helps develop students and communities with key values and motivation to take action. Okay, it motivates us, okay, and develops schools and communities with key values to take action. And these are the pillars of education. You see why education is very important. When you learn to know. Okay, so we are not supposed to stay at this level of knowing, but we move to the point of doing. But now, not to just do one of, but it becomes a culture, develop a new culture of living it and eventually becoming it. Okay, so now we learn to know, we learn to do, we learn to live, and we learn to be. Okay, so these are, the pillars of education, and it goes a long way to tell us why education for sustainable development is very important. There are several definitions of ESD, and whichever way you are looking at it, it talks about achieving necessary skills and attitudes. It talks about shaping ourselves and our practices, towards achieving a sustainable future. It talks about reducing, our consumption patterns. It talks about getting the necessary knowledge and value sets. It talks about participation in decisions, collaboration, both locally and globally. Whichever way you are looking at all these ESD definitions, okay, they are all looking in the same direction. Okay, so if different councils for European Union, we have education panel report of 1998 here, defining ESD in different ways. Whichever way you look at it, it looks at the future, it looks at values, it looks like knowledge, it looks at skill sets, it looks like collaboration towards achieving SDGs. So it cannot be overemphasized. The place of education cannot be overemphasized.
Yeah.
A point will come that we may even have to carry mothers, and I think we're already doing that, because we said at the informal level, carry along mothers to teach their children how to sort their waste at home. That is part of education for sustainable development. So it comes at different scopes and different skills. Okay, at the informal level, at the formal level, now at the primary, at the secondary, at the tertiary level, so at the community levels. Okay, so there are different levels towards achieving ESD, and there's a lot of work to be done. And we need to get to the roots. The transport workers need to know what ESD is about. Road drivers, public drivers need to know about what sustainable development is all about. The process of telling people what sustainability is about and their actions needed to achieving them is ESD. Is education for sustainable development. So it's not only when you're in class, you're writing notes, you're going to write exam. No. So
Doctor,
yeah.
Just made now throwing a lot of questions up, and definitely I know that our audience are also having some questions, and I really want us to see to those questions, because each point you make are just they are very salient and wonderful. So we appreciate if we can definitely I will appreciate if we can just create some time for questions and answer. And also
yes, I think we can as we make progress, I think we can ask questions. So if you have access to the questions, you
hello, ma. Hello.
Is that okay? Yeah, sorry, I can hear you. I said if you, I was saying that if you have.
Oh my God! How's network?
Sorry, I think so. I said that way, if the class can be interactive. Is that okay?
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine, ma. So, but you can see that you're also close to the end of the presentation. Maybe let's just take your end with the presentation first, then we'll run the questions and answer as well. So, our audience, should you have any question, please kindly use the comment section to drop your questions or comments while Dr. Agama attend to the questions as soon as she's done with the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so it's so important that even the United Nations is not giving up. This matter has been on far back, 1987, right? Okay, it's been way back. UNESCO has been promoting education for sustainable development since 1992. ESD has to be understood as an integral part of quality education inherent in the concept of lifelong learning. You can see now that it's a lifelong learning from actually cradle. Children should begin to know from their small ages, from the primary nursery levels. Okay, we need to embed sustainable development into teaching and learning. So the thematic areas, climate change, biodiversity, and how they come in. Okay, why education for sustainable development? Why? I think I have made so many arguments that why not? Okay, education for sustainable development can develop cross-cutting competencies. That's why you see that somebody in environmental studies can collaborate with someone in engineering. Okay, the person in engineering can be working on green energy. The person in the built environment can begin to look at research into how to develop the built environment to be able to harness green energy and to use it optimally. Okay, by organizing spaces in more sustainable ways. Okay, so cross-cutting competencies collaboration, inter or interdisciplinary collaboration. Okay, education for sustainability, it helps us achieve that. Okay, ESD also helps us develop specific learning outcomes on achieving a specific SDGs. Okay, so apart from helping us with generalized competencies, there are also specialized competencies that can be learned through ESD. Okay, it engenders collaboration, it brings about innovation and creativity, and of course, motivation. I have this video here that I'll just play for us. I think it's about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know. I hope we can hear it.
No, we can't.
Can you see it?
We can see the video playing, but the sound is not coming out. We can only see the virtuals.
Okay, but you see it play, but the sound is not coming out.
Yes, yes.
What's the problem?
I hope your laptop is not muted.
It's still the same. You can't hear you still can't hear the volume.
No, we can't.
Can you hear it now?
Not yet. We still can't hear it.
And I tested it. You said I tested it earlier. What must I do?
I would suggest if you can share the link to this video or we download it and we can share it to our people.
Maybe on a later date, right?
Yes, yes. I think yes, it will play directly on a PowerPoint slide, but Zoom compared, I'm not sure it's very compatible when it comes to Zoom like that. You might have to.
And I wanted to copy the link here. I wanted to copy the link. I don't know, maybe I can still try. Can I still try?
Or if you have the video on your laptop, you can play it directly instead of sharing it with PowerPoint slide.
Okay, let me see.
So while Doctor tries to fix our video, I really want to appreciate all our participants joining across the nation, all the way from Abuja, Port Harcourt, Cross River. Thank you, everyone, and people joining from Oyo State, Lagos. Thank you, and also I must not without appreciating Khadija Suleiman, who also joined with school participants to learn, because there is no point with teaching sustainability, sustainable development without involving the younger generation.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Okay, yes, ma.
So maybe we can be doing a question and answer while I'm trying to fix the video.
So there is a question basically on the please, participants, I will appreciate you drop your question using the comment section. And if you want to ask a question directly, kindly just raise your hand while we ask you to unmute so that you can ask your question directly. And if it's a comment, you can as well drop the comment. You can drop that using the comment section. But there's a question on how do you think we can work towards changing the curriculum, towards bringing the curriculum beyond, earlier you mentioned that there is a need for us to change our curriculum entirely because there's a need for curriculum development because we have been using the curriculum from ages, and everything are changing. Our environment is changing, economics is changing, business is changing, everything is changing totally. So how do you think we can achieve this considering the kind of system we also have in Nigeria? And there's another question that what are the best process to explain education for sustainable development to artisans and rural, and mostly the uneducated ones?
Okay, so thank you. So I think I'll start from the first question. How can we integrate and how can we change our curriculum, isn't it? The thing is,
yes, yes.
Our curriculum, we cannot just wake up overnight and change the whole curriculum. Okay, it's going to be a difficult task. And the thing with our different fields really is we are not really reinventing the wheel. Okay, we are only we're trying to make the wheel turn better. Okay, or to turn with consuming less energy, or turn in a more safe way. Okay, so we're not reinventing the wheel. So ESD is not really saying, oh, the old curriculum, let's throw it away. It's not helping us. Let's look for a new curriculum. No. But how can we now improve our old curriculum? How can we improve our old curriculum with consideration for our environment, for sustainability? We must embed green into our curriculum. It's about integrating it. We must embed the new practices, sustainable practices into our curriculum. We must ensure that our curriculum do not stay the same way. Okay, in a workshop that we were not long ago, somebody said they were still doing some old, what is it called? Applications. They were still doing programming and that are already obsolete, that are no more. You said?
Yeah, this programming language and all this programming language.
Somebody said Fortran. Somebody even said Fortran. They were still doing Fortran. Okay, which is I don't know. You will be surprised that the laptop that was given to us at the center, I wanted to do this meeting on that laptop this morning, and it was not compatible. It is requiring me to use another piece for the microphone and another one for the headset. You see now that laptop is going to be requiring more energy to run. It's going to be requiring me using 2 headsets, okay? And it's, at the end of the day, we need technology. And you see now that the technology we are having now, we are having more smart systems. So now we have so many things in circulation, vehicles, automobiles, washing machines, computers. There's a lot of waste. In our curriculum as engineers, as people in the built environment, as scientists, as civil engineers, how can we build outside the traditional approaches and traditional methods that can have less impact on our environment, that we can use less materials, that we can generate less waste, that it will use less power, you understand? So now we have to look at our curriculum. Before, civil engineer, you just want to look at, you want to mix your concrete in such a way that the house is not going to fall, isn't it? You want to have an elaborate and beautiful design. Now we are beginning to ask you, look at it. What that beam that you are planning to put in a particular place, do you need that beam there? Do you need that column? Do you need to modify your designs? We need to begin to have sustainable designs that will use less concrete, less iron, less materials, that will use less water. You know, the more complicated the building is, the more water, the more lighting, the more things. That's what we are asking. We're not going to throw away the curriculum that we already have. We're not saying, oh, absolutely, this curriculum cannot help us, but we can improve it to respond to our current realities, okay? To meet up with our current needs. We hear all manner of people talking, Nigerian government does not use Nigerian engineers. Education for sustainability comes in the space of building competencies. Can you solve this problem? Do you have the skill? I'm not saying, do you have a certificate in engineering? That's not what I'm asking. Do you have the competencies to solve this problem? Can you work with other people in other disciplines? Can you now think outside the box? Before, in research, we don't really collaborate. If you're in environmental studies, you collaborate with people in environmental. The people in engineering collaborate with themselves. The people in physics and chemistry and all, in sciences, they collaborate. But now we are collaborating with each other. You are an engineer, you are working on green technology. I'm in the built environment. How do I organize spatial space that I can optimally utilize the green energy you are developing? That's collaboration. Okay, so we can embed green. Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Emmanuel.
I sincerely, I know that if we still have the next 2 hours, it's still going to be very engaging. And we are just like some minutes away to 11. I know that you
oh my God, so we just have to run. Then the second question was talking about how do we carry artisans along? We speak to them in the language you understand. Hello?
Yes, an uneducated
yes, we can speak to them in the language you understand. That is why we said everybody must be carried along. Translate the goals to their languages. Put the notices out there in different languages that people can understand. Put it in pidgin language. Say it in Yoruba, in Hausa. Don't drop your waste on the road. Don't drop this here. Put your plastic there. All this is part of education for sustainability. In the market, oh, you that is selling tomatoes, don't just pour your tomatoes on the road. Put it somewhere. Educate people. Along the line, you tell one person, if you are able to go around all the people selling tomatoes to pick up their waste tomatoes and the vegetables, is organic waste. We can biodigest it. If you bring it to my shop, I'm going to give.
Hello, I think we are losing Doc again. Hello, doctor. Doctor, are you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
All right, I think we lose this for some seconds. Yes, you were talking about the biodigesters and working with market women. All right, thank you very much, Doc. We'll just leave it back to you to round up on your presentations, while we also prepare to take the last set of questions and maybe comments from our participants.
Okay. So maybe I'll play the video at the end. Let me just round up, then I'll play the video, while we're gathering the questions for our contributions. So now I asked the question here, who is involved? For the goals to be reached, everyone is involved. Everyone, educated, uneducated people, government, private sector, civil society, every individual has a part to play locally and globally. I told us in the workshop we had about 2 weeks ago, I said that issues about the environment have no prejudice. We have one environment. Whether you are living in America or in London, the only difference is the distance between us. We have just one environment. So if you are playing a part locally, you are actually indirectly playing a global part. So there are no small measures. Governments are expected to take ownership and establish national frameworks, policies and measures for implementation of the 2030 agenda. And I said at what scopes, and I think I mentioned that earlier, okay? At what scope, okay? At personalized individual levels, in the communities, local, global, etc., government and institutions, all educational institutions from preschool, nursery, to tertiary education, and in non-formal and informal education can and should consider it their responsibility to deal intensively with matters of sustainable development and to foster the development of sustainability competencies. Okay, so everyone is involved at all levels, and they should make it a matter, of priority. Reorienting our curriculum to addressing SDGs, identifying knowledge, skills and innovation, collaboration, I've said that earlier, and I said our curriculum should teach, to inspire and to motivate. Okay, what are the approaches? They should be action-oriented. I mentioned earlier when somebody asked about how we can carry everybody along. I said, look, we can translate the SDGs, the goals, we can drop the notices there in different languages to carry them along. Okay, it is action-oriented. We should also embrace transformative pedagogy, our teaching styles, okay, which support self-directed learning, participation and collaboration, problem-oriented. We must be able to solve problems, inter and interdisciplinarity, and also linking informal and formal learning. Okay, so there are really no bounds, there are no restrictions, there are no limits. Okay, only such pedagogical approaches make possible the development of the key competencies needed for promoting SDGs. They not only integrate content such as climate change, but it creates interactive learner-centered teaching and learning settings. Okay, it requires a shift from teaching to learning, where even in the classrooms, both teachers, knowledge givers and our learners are on the same page. We interact, we rub minds, we discuss the challenges. We put problems in front of us and try to innovate and see how we can, provide solutions for those problems. So it requires integrated learning. And this, when we say integrative learning, we are looking at different approaches to learning. Okay, critical thinking, okay, envisioning, systematic thinking, building partnerships. That is what integrated learning is. Side by side with our traditional learning outcomes. Our traditional learning outcomes is what we have always been doing and what we have always known. But now we are saying that no, it is not enough. It must be integrated. Okay. In other words, we should bring other approaches, of learning. Okay, towards case study, real life learning. Okay, and
Hello, doctor.
all that.
Okay.
Hands-on practical approaches, simulations, modeling, okay, all this help to achieve envisioning. Yes, I can.
I think we are losing you out at some points, but it's fine.
Can you hear me now?
It's going well.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
So we are saying that it involves integrated learning, okay, at side by side with traditional learning outcomes, okay, towards developing core competencies, direct and indirect competencies, okay, envisioning, critical thinking and reflection, systems thinking, building partnerships, participation in decision making. Okay, these are the competencies that education for sustainable development, should look forward, to achieving. Okay, so these are case studies. In Yaba College of Technology, we're actually involved in developing case studies for teaching real life learning. Okay, and this is the link here. We can check out those curriculum. We actually developed 4 of them. One for hospitality industry, one for Kobaba, which is a sawmill, one for Lagos State Waste Management Authority, and one for an aluminum recycling industry. So we went to those industries and places. We looked at their approaches and we came up with a practical curriculum. So I'm sure that some people are asking here, how can we green curriculum? What can a green curriculum look like? If you look at this, you would see how you can actually embed curriculum, greening or sustainability into your curriculum. If you look at this curriculum, I think 2 of them are uploaded already. The other 2 are still being edited. The one for the hospitality industry and which I think is the Lagos State Waste Management one that already uploaded. So once we are there, you can see how the curriculum looks like. What we did was to develop the teacher's guide and the student's guide. Okay, so the teacher's guide will state step by step what the teacher should do even before he goes to class and how he is going to take the students through. From the beginning, you must have highlighted the necessary concepts and areas of sustainability you want to achieve in that course. So you teach the concept, you carry the students along, you take them to the site, they will see it with their eyes in real life, and you teach the concept there for them to understand. You see that way to be easier for them to understand, to be able to apply it, and to be able to be better informed than you defining the thing in classroom. And the students get tired of concepts and theories when grammar is too when the grammar is plenty, they get tired, okay, and all that. So I'm believing that we'll still be in an interactive session. Even after this program, you still have questions, you still want to, anything you want lights thrown at, you can reach out to Mr. Emmanuel. He knows how to reach me. If I have to call you, I'll call you. If I have to send you a mail, I'll mail you. If we have to chat, so I'm open. We just want to have, access to education for ESD, okay, towards saving our environment. You see, I put all this on one slide: problems, conclusion, and recommendations. All these things I've been talking since morning are what we would look at and term as our recommendations, because if we do all these things, we would have achieved ESD, isn't it? But then we have problems. Somebody asked, how do we reach people who are not educated? We need to translate some of these materials. We need field men. We need community advocacy groups. We need community participation. We need to go out to the grassroots to spread this information. The people who are willing to do this job are not many, because most times they are not remunerated. Nobody is paying for them. They are basically NGO work or volunteers, who are passionate about the environment and things like that. Okay, we don't really have the weight of the government. Yes, our government is always there for the COP meetings. They sign the agendas, they enter into the agreement, but then we don't see the deliberate actions towards achieving these partnerships that they go into, in either providing infrastructure or funding our education institutions or providing for personnel or providing for awareness. We don't get to see these things. By now, we should be seeing goals of SDGs in our airports, in strategic malls, in different places, telling people how to deal with their waste, how to cut down on their consumption patterns, how to treat the environment better. By now, our higher institutions should be getting grants on sustainable development research and innovation, but we are not seeing all these things yet. But we want ESD in our education. So there are a lot of problems. Then we have cultural problems. People cannot go out without driving their cars. Somebody will have a bottle of Coke and finish it and throw it on the road. All these things, we still have people who are not literate about the environment yet. And when we're talking about, that's why I said education for sustainability is not just that you have a degree. Do you have some certain knowledge and values and principles and some consideration for the environment? You can see people with PhDs litter their environment. So will you say that person is not educated? He's educated, but we still have these challenges. So we need government to back up more. We need more funding. We need more grants. We need more community participation. We need more advocacy. We need more people to jump in, on this bandwagon. We need our development policies to begin to consider sustainability, public transport, discourage people from driving their own personalized cars. Let's discourage motorization. Let the government fund public infrastructure and things like that. So there are so many things, and that's why you can see we say that yes, aside curriculum, which is teaching at the various institutions, we need policies. We need teachers also to be trained. There are some teachers that will be like, whoa, I cannot kill myself. Let me just teach what my curriculum is asking me and let me go. We need a policy that can integrate, that can help us embed. Until it is a policy, you cannot indict a lecturer who is not teaching greening, but is teaching his curriculum that was given to him by the institution. Do you understand? So there's still a lot to be done. All the regulatory bodies, the MBT, the NUC, okay, the Ministry of Education, and all other allied institutions and parastatals, we need to be on one page towards achieving SDGs. Okay. And that way we'll be close.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's really been an insightful session indeed. And really appreciate you for this knowledge which you've shared with us today. Thank you so much. Like I said, I know if we have the next 2 hours, we are still loading us with so many salient points which you've not really
Yeah.
had time to work on. Yeah, because the aspect of greening is one thing, the aspect of mindset shift is another thing, the aspect of governance
Yeah.
and so it's a whole lot. And the aspect of
Yes.
sustainable cities and transportation is another thing. But we have to take this one by one individually, and this is what is going to measure up to contribute to we are achieving the sustainable development goals. And the great points which you've already talked about, new skills adoption, new values, attitude that must be developed, and education can and must contribute to a new vision of the global sustainable development. Thank you so much, Doctor, for this wonderful points and knowledge you shared with us today. I don't know, maybe we have any of our participants who would like to make a comment or give recommendation as regards today's webinar before we end today's session. We are already behind our schedule. I don't know, do we have anybody that wants to say anything in form of a comment or a recommendation? Though actually after this webinar, we are still going to put all these points together, because what we are doing and which we are doing better, that which I can say that we are going to be doing better, is each of these things are things we are pushing out as policy recommendation on our own part, and other salient points which can contribute towards achieving the SDGs. So we are not just having this webinar and maybe it's just for a few people that are attending or few people that are interested in it. Thank you so much. I think we have a comment from Ms. Oluwaseyi, appreciating you, ma. I don't know if we have anybody that has anything to say. Maybe you want to say it directly. You can just unmute your mind and speak for a minute. Okay, all right. I am not sure. Maybe participants might not want to say anything for now. And all we have to say is to keep appreciating you, Doctor, for the wonderful and insightful session we've had with you this morning. We definitely look forward to hear more. Okay, Mr. Kechi Matthew, can you just use a minute to share your thoughts or your question or comments? Just in a minute, sir, before we end today's call.
Good morning, Mr. Emmanuel.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, our presenter. I really, though I'm sorry that I came late on this program today, but the little I had, I can put that in use. So I want to recommend that this webinar should not just be today thing. I think from time to time we come together and hear more, so that will enable us, give us the morale of doing the right thing always. Because everything that is being put, with the knowledge that you have acquired, and if you keep put it into use, that will be in you. So even if you are sleeping, when you just wake up, some things that will run into your mind, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed not to do, like that, and all of that. So I really appeal that this webinar should come up again. Thank you very much. From Cross Rivers. Or today I'm in Abuja.
Okay, Mr. Kechi Matthew, thank you for that wonderful advice and contribution. And definitely the team will as well work towards it, whereby we can have more of this session. And I don't know, maybe we have any other comments, but in absence of no such comments, once again, we really want to appreciate you, Dr. Franca, and we can't do but to say a big thank you for this wonderful knowledge which you've shared with us today. And this is going to stay forever with us. I can assure you of that. And we definitely endeavor to make good use of it and try as much as possible to be agents and catalysts of sustainable development. Thank you all our participants across the nation for joining today's webinar, despite that many of us are joining from work, from our various spaces. It's a very inconvenient time indeed, which I believe, and one other thing which we are also going to work on. and really appreciate the time you spend with us and all that forthcoming session which you are still going to spend with us. And we also look forward to your for your contribution. Definitely, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with, or you want to connect with Dr. Franca. Yes, she's an open person. Like she's a mentor, and she loves connecting with people and mentoring people as regards SDGs and other related aspects. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Franca, for this wonderful session. We wish each and everyone a wonderful week ahead and a pleasant one indeed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manuel. Thank you.